Good morning. It's Steph and Sarah here to do an August studio jumpstart for you. So I thought this morning we'd begin with a sensing exploration. I'll give you the writing prompt just before we begin. So you might want to have a pencil and paper handy to write it down. And then rather than making you suffer, excuse me, my cat's trying to jump on my table. Um, and rather than make you suffer through our time writing, we're going to put it on pause, do our own writing, work in our journals, and then we'll do the recording, pick up the recording, and come back for a studio chat. So if you don't want to hear our studio chat as you're writing, I would say put it on pause, dive in, and come back and join us. So the writing prompt this morning is, or this month, I guess, since these are monthly, is how do my senses invite gratefulness for the world around me and for myself? So I've been, I have to say, I'm grateful for my senses. I'm grateful for the sensing that I have done, particularly during this time of confinement with COVID-19 and being at home and social distancing and all the feelings that get stirred with that. So a practice for me recently that's been really potent is because every day does seem like Groundhog Day and so ordinary. And so a practice for me has been, how can I be with the ordinary and invite the extraordinary to arrive? So I wanted to explore that this morning. I made some notes about it. It's really dropping down into yourself and exploring what's there without pushing or reaching for something. And that's something that's different than what is there. So by doing this, we have this opportunity to see how one thing, one experience becomes another in that small, ordinary space, and to see how our experience can transform without the pushing and grabbing. So to begin with, we're going to sit, and you want to be kind of away from your keyboard so that your hands can rest on, your mid thighs. And you just want to place your hands there. Your eyes can be open, natural breathing, and just check in. How are you balanced right now? Does there need to be a slight adjustment for a bit more sitting, maybe? And what's the feeling of your hands on your legs? Is there a sensation where they are meeting? And then slowly lift your hands up just a little bit. And how are your palms right now? What are you aware of? And how about your legs? Is there some sensation there where your hands were? And now close your eyes and slowly, very slowly, allow your hands to come back down to your legs. Noticing if they come down at the same time, or if one came down a bit quicker, one a bit slower than the other. And let your hands rest there. Keeping your eyes closed, notice what might be happening in your upper arms. Bring your attention there. Is there some lifting up going on, or are they at rest? Is it possible that lifting has become resting? Or is there something of each happening? And now we're going to take a moment just to refresh. You might want to wiggle your hands and tap your feet. I think that's one of the things I've learned in this time is how important refreshing is. And now, still with your eyes closed, take one hand with the palm facing the forehead, about 6 inches out from your forehead. And slowly bring your hand to your forehead with your eyes closed. Noticing as you get closer, is there warmth? Maybe an eyebrow, the top of your glasses, hair. And let your palm, your hand, cup your forehead. Is it smaller than you thought? Larger? Or maybe it's just right. And after you've rested there for a moment, refresh this by moving your hand away just a bit. And then allowing it to come back. Is the experience for you of the hand touching the forehead, or is the forehead touching the hand? Maybe a bit of both. Who's doing the sensing? And then slowly remove your hand, noticing how it is to leave. What might stay in this leaving? And letting your hands rest on your legs again. You are welcome to stay here as long as you want, since you have the writing prompt. But I do suggest going into writing from here about your experience, and then from there into a scribble, back to the journal, into your book or painting. And Steph and I are going to do that. We're going to pause, and then we'll be back for a studio chat. So we're back.
Yes.
After spending some time writing and working in our respective book and journal, and just wanted to do a check-in and share with all of you how it was for us. So how was it for you today, Steph?
It was good. As always, the sensing, I just notice more when I'm sensing, like it was really cool to be able to hover above either my leg or my forehead and I think you were asking for us to slowly like take it away. And
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can really tell the energetic fields, whether you believe
Right.
it or not. I mean, it's there. You can, in the warmth of the skin before it happens. And it was
Mm-hmm.
really fun to just really notice that and feel. And then when you're done, like when I was done touching my legs, I could still feel like a tingling where my hands were,
Yeah,
which is so cool.
I know, because I think most of us think our hands are just, but to realize there's this aliveness in them
Yes,
can be woken up.
absolutely. And I think that then took me into the sense or the question and the writing. And I basically said, I can notice what's underneath things. The brain chatter and the world around becomes, I can notice what's beneath things and the brain chatter. And then the world around becomes alive and vibrant. Even the clock that's ticking was interesting. Like it was just like so layered and rich.
Mm-hmm.
And it felt like things were possible again because honestly, lately I haven't been feeling a whole lot of possibility. I haven't been feeling a whole lot of hope. And I
Right.
think it's been a lifesaver to be working with you and others with the sensing and then the art. And it's just very important to remind myself that this is what is actually happening right now in the moment, and just being right there with myself and my senses. It's very, very crucial for me right now.
Yeah, I feel actually I had a similar experience, but it started yesterday when we worked together. And we were talking about um, the noise that was underneath, and then your writing prompt for us was uh, directly connected to that. And we hadn't planned it; it was just a spontaneous conversation, and you came with that writing prompt. And I talk about this every month. I'll talk about it for years, probably. I feel so lost in this journal because I'm tearing up old journals that I've had for years and using the words, and I had laid out on this page. I'd found this thing I'd written, all the things I want, I do want, I do want, I do want, and so I cut all those up and glued them on. And then I found the page with the I don't want, and I thought, oh, I'll just throw it away.
Hmm.
But after working with you yesterday, and then working with this, not pushing anything away, I thought, you know what? I can't. They're not going to be. I don't know if they're on this page or not, but they will be here. I can't throw them away now. Like I'm going to have to cut them up. to and put them in. But how lost I have felt stumbling around. And then yesterday after the session we had, I sat here and I went, what's underneath the noise is all this stuff I've written and saved and hung on to, and it can be reframed. I can cut it up. I can, some of it's not necessary now. Some of it is necessary to keep. And there's something about being that fine-tuned to it, like your palms to your legs or your palm to your forehead. And so today I just feel like I still don't know where I'm going, but it's okay.
So vital.
And it's and that each step of the way, if I can be that present as I was for my palms on my legs or on my forehead, or hovering even, letting them come down at the same time, and sort of remembering the exquisite feel of what it's like to be that present for a moment. I can do that here in my journal, and the connection of things takes care of itself. It's like just the experience of being there transforms itself.
Yeah.
One flows into the other. I don't have to make it flow. I don't have to push it, if I'm just there for that moment. It's such a profound, I feel it so differently in my body when I'm working.
Yes. Yeah, it really encourages trust, this whole process, not just the art, but the sensing and then moving in the world after, it's, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And one of the things I like about singing is it goes, and the art is the same way. And that was always one of those rules, is not interpreting or telling the story about it, but letting it unfold. And I feel that with sensing, I get to experience that. If I can get my mind to stop analyzing everything for just a minute, I get to experience that. Like, I've done that exploration several times this week, and today the thing I was most aware of was the tingling in my palms and how good it felt.
It's that under the noise thing, I think, that we were talking about. It's stillness, but it's alive. It's very alive. It's like our signature almost, that we've talked about, our energetic signature. And it's just so, there's no words really to describe it, but when you do it, we all know it, we all have it.
Yeah. And when it's palpable, it's so extraordinary.
Yes.
And all we've done is put our hands on our knees, or held a paintbrush, or painted, somehow brought in that awareness that's always present. I think that's what you're saying, is always present with us, out beyond the chatter that's going on about it.
Yes, definitely. And like I said, it is vital for me to be navigating in this world. I need it to navigate, or to get through and not feel hopeless or helpless.
Yeah. Me too. It's and then I'm reminded how do they discover joy, is by repeating things. And repeating them. That's why you read the same storybook to them, or they, when I was a kid, we used to spin, and then we'd get dizzy, and then we'd spin again, and we'd laugh and just be. So I feel like the time that, with our studio time, that's sort of one way to build joy. The sensing pieces, particularly the ones that ask me that seem like nothing's going on, there's so much joy that comes out of that. And it's applicable. Can I take my walk that way?
Mm.
And be available for the little things, just really simple. So I need to be reminded of that there's this whole life in the simple, and energy and loveliness,
Mm.
and how easy it is to get carried away with the lack of hope and despair
Yeah. And there's so much right now to
and suffering.
cling to, all the suffering and the despair and the chaos and all that. So that's why, this is like a nice breather from all of that, and a reminder, like you said, a reminder of what's true.
Right. And the other thing for me was, can you refresh yourself?
Mm.
That we get to one place and we hold, and it is possible to allow a refreshment and come back to it anew.
That was so interesting, because I'm glad you brought that up, because when I was doing it, I have some shoulder neck arthritis issue
Mm-hmm.
stuff that it can be really painful for me to hold for a very long time. So I started to notice, some of that creeping in, and I really would just lean into that and really just sort of soften. But I was also listening to the cues of my body, and I knew when you said refresh, I refreshed my whole arm. And it reminded me of, animals in the wild, or just animals in general. When they have like little traumas or big traumas or whatever, they don't hold on to them and keep having grudges or whatever. They literally shake them off. You can see
Mm-hmm.
them, shake them off. And
Right.
it's a good reminder,
Yeah.
refreshing, and, shaking off.
And that you can do it in a very simple way rather than needing to take a 3-day spa retreat someplace, which I like too, but sometimes we think it always has to be that big thing. And what happens when it's just like you dropping your arm and shaking it, or like an animal taking that moment and then moving on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
Wow.
thank you for the very enriching conversation at the end of the work we did together
Thank
today.
you.
I
Thank you.
hope everybody uses it and finds enrichment from it.
Me too.
So,
All right, and as always, the links below will connect you to us if you're interested in working with us in different ways. And I guess that's it for August.
yep. Have a
All
great
right,
August.
have a great August.
Bye.